Hello everyone, I'm Steve and welcome to Green Side Up. Lovely sunny day today. I'm at home today in the greenhouse. I have a few jobs to get done at home, but I thought I'd sneak in here and get a little bit more seed sowing done. I'll just give you a quick tour of the stuff that's in here because it's like a jungle at the minute, but I'll give you a quick tour, show you around, and then we'll get on with some sowing. So here is, as somebody coined it, it's my tomato jungle. These are all the crimson crush that I had to fetch back up at home because the temperatures got too cold down at the polytunnel on the allotments, and I actually lost a few plants that I'd planted the same time as I normally plant them, but it was just too cold, so I lost them. So I've got all these crimson crush here, and I think there's about 16, 17 of them. At the very end here you can see they're racing away. They are my cucumbers. There's 12 there. I've already promised a couple out to other people, so I won't use them all myself. The rest will be given away. And coming along, I've got butternut squash there, and this is the second variety of tomato I'm growing this year, my Ildies. They're doing marvellously well. Hopefully all these tomatoes will be coming out Saturday this week and getting planted down there because all the frost should have gone. These are my melon plants here. A few more backup tomatoes. These are Gardener's Delight and Ailsa Craig here. Got some herbs down here, aubergines. Everything's kind of overtaken at the minute. I mean, these peppers are doing brilliantly at the minute. And over here at the back is my sweet corn that I grow outside with protection around them. Others will remember that from last year that I put them outside and I have protection around them basically to make them grow faster. And it's sweet corn that I'm going to sow now, so we'll show you that. Now, I haven't grown this particular sweet corn for a number of years now, probably about 10 years, and it's called Mini Pop. And when you see those little trays of the baby sweet corn, there might be like 5 or 6 little husks of sweet corn in there and a few sugar snap peas or something in there, and you pay a couple of quid for it. Super expensive in the supermarket, of course. That's what these are. And I last grew these when I put my first polytunnel up, and it was one of those blowaway tunnels with the little green checker squares, and these things grew so rapid in there that the top of the plants actually pushed the squares out of the top of the polytunnel and flowered outside of it. And I've never grown them since because I've always been a little bit fearful of ruining my polytunnel. But now I've got a taller polytunnel up now, which it would be adequate for growing this. And of course I'm putting the new polytunnel up. Already got the sweet corn there as I've shown you, but because I'm putting the new polytunnel up, I thought, well, it's a quick crop. It's going to be plenty tall enough. I'm going to sow some of these and grow some of them again. It's been a long time since I have grown them. So I thought, well, give them another try because I don't think they're going to grow through the cover of my new tunnel. The new tunnel, I should start building that next week. It won't take long to build. As I say, I think it's polytunnel number 10 that I've been involved with building, and I think it's 4, it's my 5th polytunnel, so it's going to go up fairly quick because I know what I'm doing with it, and yeah, it should be fairly easy. I would say a week, 10 days it'll all be up and done. I don't need to faff on with it. So these are going in dry. Those of you who saw me sowing the other sweet corn that's behind me earlier in the year will remember I soaked those seeds. And that's because if you get a favourable April weather-wise, you can get your plants out nice and early and get a good start on the year, and that's why I do it. And all the soaking does is it just takes 4 or 5 days off the germination of your seed, because all that's going to happen to these seed in here now is that once these are all planted and I've watered them, they're going to spend a few days taking up that moisture, the seeds will swell, and then they'll germinate and start growing. So by soaking them overnight first, you take away that first 4 or 5 days. So it's for a speedier germination, and that's why I soaked those seeds earlier in the year. But as where these are going isn't even up yet, it's, as in the new polytunnel, there is no big rush for me to get these things going and rearing along. There's no real benefit to that. And plus the fact that once they're inside the polytunnel, they're going to grow that much better and that much faster anyway. So I'm just going to do this the traditional way, put the seeds in dry, water them and leave them. And they should be about right by the time I've finished putting the polytunnel up. So I've got a few jobs to finish off down the allotments first. The ground is ready for the tunnel. So once I start doing that, it'll be a week or 10 days, and then wherever these are at, they won't be far away from being planted. So that's it. That's sweet corn mini pop, I think it was called. Yeah, mini pop. And you'll get 4 to 5 cobs per plant. Sometimes even 6, and I've had, the record I had was 7, and that was the one that grew out the roof. But I haven't grown them since. But you grow them the same as normal sweet corn, and obviously they grow better and faster indoors, and that's why I'm growing them under cover this year. So that's it. That's the first seed. Right, you all know that April has been the sort of coldest month on record, so I think going back to 1920, something like that, and it's caused for me a bit of a log jam, and I believe a lot of other gardeners are in the same boat, so probably you watching now are the same. This is why this greenhouse is packed with plants. My polytunnel's packed with plants, although I've planted a lot of them out now. I'm just starting. It's caused a log jam because when I planted the beetroot the other day, there were 3 different crops there that I normally plant successionally, but as it was, because it was so cold, I couldn't get them out, and had to plant them all at the same time. But now it's time for me to start sowing again, and I'm going to start here with some beetroot, get the basics started today, get something going. As you've seen, I've just got the sweet corn going, and I'm going to multi-sow these. So I've just forced in a lot of compost with my hand, just as I backwards and forwards and pressing down hard just to get a lot of compost in there, just so they don't run out of steam halfway through growing. And I'm going to sow some beetroot, and that will be multi-sown. The variety I'm sowing is standard bolt hardy, and I'm just going to palm sow these. So great big handful, and then 2, 3, 4 or 5 in a cell, whatever lands in there stays in there. I don't fuss too much with it. I'd rather not have 7 or 8 like some of these have, but they'll either grow or they won't. But I'm just keen to get some more seeds going, so that I've got plants down the line. I have a feeling that what I've planted, or what I'm about to plant out of the plants down in the polytunnel, aren't going to do very well at all. So I want replacement as soon as possible, really. So there we go, that's one nice quick tray of beetroot sorted out. And I'll just, excuse me, I'll just swap that. Here's one I prepared earlier. But I'm putting spring onions in this one, and it's the same variety as I always use. It's a bunching onion, Japanese bunching onion, called Ishikura. I'll put the name in the description just to avoid spelling errors. And I'll use my little seed sower for this. These are great onions. You don't get the bulb at the bottom, but you get a nice thick stemmed onion, which I think chops and slices nicely. I'll be a little bit more careful with these. Really only want sort of 3 or 4 in a bunch. And after this I'm going to sow some lettuce as well. I think the lettuce I've got down there, that's definitely going to bolt. Everything's been held back for so blooming long down there. It's like these tomatoes here, they've got flowers on them, they're ready to get going. They'll rock and roll when they go in the polytunnel at the weekend, but yeah, they're a little bit behind. But they'll come, they'll do good. So that's spring onions. Again, sieved compost as always for seeds. Sieved compost makes the individual particles smaller, surrounds the seed better, therefore wets the seed all over quicker and allows for better germination. So there we go, there's spring onions. So next up, I'm sowing some lettuce, and I'm going to use my trusty piece of glass here to make little furrows in this little seed tray, just to sow a few lines of lettuce, and when they've grown here, I shall prick them out into modules to grow on. But this just makes life a little bit easier, and it allows you to sow a lot of varieties in a very small space. So that's why I do that. And I've managed to source and get some new red Grenoble lettuce, which is probably my all-time favourite, to be honest. And I'm just going to palm sow these into here. You may remember, if you were here earlier in the year, when I sowed some of these, had awful germination, didn't get any at all. It was an old seed, but this is a new one, so very happy about that. This is from Simpson Seeds, and it's Rouge d'Hiver, and it's billed, never grown it before, it's billed as similar to the red Grenoble, so I couldn't resist trying that as well. So again, I'll just palm sow those in there. So that's that one. Next one's a funny name, lettuce Grosser Blonde Parasus. Now, I believe that translates into something differently, but they're calling it here Fat Lazy Blonde. Not really a good name, is it? Especially if you're watching and you're a blonde, but that's exactly what it says on the label. I'm sure it's translates into something like big white head or something, but I don't know. Another favourite of mine, lettuce Freckles, this one. Nice green leaf with black spots on it. Looks great in a mixed salad. Nice and crunchy. So these will all be up within a week or two. Be potted on, and I'll have absolutely tons of lettuce from this, just this little sowing here. In fact, I'll have far too many. But I'm always quite heavy-handed with the seeds. And this one is a red oak leaf called Sadawi. There we go, Sadawi. So that's it. That's lettuce taken care of as well. So by the time those other lettuce have either died or have finished cropping or have bolted, these will be ready to go in the ground. So I'll have a fresh crop. Right, so I'll just water them, label them, same with all the others, put all the labels in so that people don't think I've forgotten. But that's it for today. Let me just fetch you up a little bit so you can see me. That's it for today. I'll be doing some more sowing tomorrow. So maize sowing is in a couple of parts. I'll be sowing direct tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Stay safe.